And welcome back. Well, first it was Nassau residents who successfully blocked placing a casino-style gaming parlor in their communities. Now residents in Suffolk County are hoping for the same results with a lawsuit and a state lawmaker's bill to reverse the state approval for the gaming parlors. 1,000 video lottery terminals in both Nassau and Suffolk counties were supposed to help close big budget shortfalls. But will it happen? Standing with supporters in Hauppauge, Long Island State Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick says no dice.
These are not the jobs we want. The government should not be in the business of vice, and gambling is a vice.
Assemblyman Fitzpatrick admits his legislation to ban the gambling parlors is a long shot since he's the only sponsor so far. But he points to the recent protests in Nassau County that have kept Nassau OTB from being able to select a site there.
I don't think any other hometown is going to step up and say, well, we'd love to have it here.
In Suffolk County, OTB says it's already spent $11 million to buy land that's bordered on all sides by either the LIE, trees, or industrial sites like this one.
These places that are open in Saratoga, Yonkers, Aqueduct, there's been no increase in crime or anything like that. As a matter of fact, this site will be well lit. The New York State mandates we have great security.
But just beyond the site's borders, there are about 125 homes where neighbors worry about increased traffic from gamblers visiting 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Million visitors a year. A million. That's maybe over 2 million car trips and traffic.
Public opinion is divided. Suffolk resident Frank G. says gambling patrons are being unfairly portrayed.
They meet their friends, they hang out, they're not criminals, they're not dirtbags, they're not drug addicts.
Suffolk OTB says it will begin construction at the Medford site within 60 days, while Nassau tries to figure out a new location. One speculation has been the Belmont racetrack. Although state lawmakers on Long Island say that the intent of the law was never to allow the gaming parlors at the Belmont racetrack, so that seems in doubt as well. Now, joining us is Brett Houdek. He's with the Medford Taxpayers and Civic Association, worried about the placement of the Suffolk gaming parlor in Medford. Welcome to the show. As I mentioned, your group has now filed a lawsuit. What is the basis for it?
Well, the basis is very simple. OTB was permitted to install VLTs, video lottery terminals, but they had to place them in an OTB betting parlor.
Under like under the legislation that was passed 2 years ago by state lawmakers.
Correct, correct. The enacted legislation clearly said they must place them in an OTB betting parlor. And the siting and licensing of an OTB betting parlor is established law. They do need to comply with local zoning, and the property that they're trying to use was clearly not intended for OTB betting parlors. It's clearly intended for a more sports-like, family-oriented, community-based property.
This is really going to come down to what was the intent of the legislation that was passed 2 years ago by lawmakers, enabling both counties to get these 1,000 VLTs, you know, video lottery terminals. Some people calling it a gaming parlor, others casino, although the backers of it object to that, saying it's not a casino. But there seems to be a lot of word splitting going on there. How do we know that they are going to be able to build this site there when they claim that they are exempt from local zoning by previous OTB authorities?
Well, the exemption they're claiming has never really been vetted. All right, we have
You mean in courts? It's never been challenged in the courts?
It's never been challenged to this extent. We have case law which demonstrates that OTB has used the zoning argument to get out of leases. So they clearly say that they must follow zoning whenever they put a betting parlor in place. So if it's good to get out of a lease, as Nassau County did 5 years ago, 2009, clearly it has to apply to Suffolk County. Zoning is a requirement.
Well, and what about the town of Brookhaven? Now, you've tried to get them to join your lawsuit, but they have not done that. Why is that?
Well, the town of Brookhaven is a diverse area. All right. There are many people who thought this might have been a benefit. And last summer, the town of Brookhaven attempted to make the property comply with zoning. So we think right now they're trying to unravel that. They're trying to say mea culpa. And I believe in the long run, they will be part of our lawsuit because it's clear that OTB must follow zoning or they wouldn't have tried to change the zoning.
Well, now there are some differences that are obvious here to what happened in Nassau, where they were trying to put it in a very busy shopping area right off Old Country Road. And this area, which is bordered by trees and has about 100 or so homes beyond that border, and the LIE service road, and it's in a mostly commercial zone. So the backers of this say, could there be a better place to put a gaming parlor than this?
Well, that's the way OTB represents the property. In truth, the property is bordered by 125 homes. As you say,
right.
My own home is 1,600 feet
so
from the front door.
So you live near there?
It'll be 1,600 feet from the front door. Traffic will be passing residential communities in and out where our children wait for bus stops, where our children play. All right, as they try to wind their way to the casino, they'll be driving through that. The eastern parcel is located next to a children's amusement park. So what you're doing is sandwiching a betting parlor operating from 8 to 4 a.m. between a commercial amusement park and residential homes.
So when do you expect to hear something on your lawsuit? Has anything been scheduled yet?
Nothing is scheduled right now. We're probably going back to amend the lawsuit to include, as we hope, Brookhaven, plus many other residents who now want to be included on this.
Well, it certainly has gained in support. We have seen that the meetings, more and more people are coming out to oppose it, but not quite the numbers that we see in Nassau. But there does seem to be some buyer's remorse on Long Island about this idea.
Yes, there is. But I do believe we have the numbers that Nassau has. We just don't have the reporting that Nassau has. One of our Civic meetings, we had 300 people waiting outside trying to get in.
That was a lot more than the first meetings where we saw a dozen or so.
Yes.
Well, we'll be following this, and including whether or not the state lawmakers decide whether or not they want to change course. Brett Houdek, Medford Taxpayers and Civic Association, filing suit against Suffolk OTB to prevent a gaming parlor being placed in Medford. Thanks for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
And still to come, he saved a life by causing a crash. How this Long Beach officer's quick thinking stopped something even worse.